expecting the same kind of support? Today also we are seeing a lot of people outside KCR's house. Kavitha is expected to appear before the Enforcement Directorate at about 11 a.m. today.
Right. K Kavitha has staged a massive show of strength as far as the opposition unity is concerned yesterday. The protest was about the women reservation bill, but what you saw was almost the entire opposition coming together in support of the women reservation bill and also sending out a message to the central government that, look, the opposition is getting united. Yes, the Congress was absent from the assembly. So today when K Kavitha would be going to the Enforcement Directorate in connection to the Delhi excise policy, what we'll see is that BRS workers might be around KCR's, the Chief Minister's official residence in the national capital, and maybe a couple of them also around the Enforcement Directorate office. But as far as the BRS strategy, at least the way it looks right now is concerned, that K Kavitha would go to the Enforcement Directorate, face the agency, investigative agency, and would respond to the questions which are lined up for her. On the other side, there could be a possibility, if at all the danger looms larger, then we could see a similar kind of response from the opposition parties, the way opposition parties and several chief ministers of non-NDA states had responded when Manish Sisodia was arrested. So that is a possibility that, again, opposition camp can get united. And remember, the action at Lalu Prasad Yadav's family has already irked the opposition camp, and they are questioning why is the Enforcement Directorate acting in this particular manner. Back to you.
Thank you, Amit, for joining me with all those details. My colleague Amit giving us all the download on how opposition parties are now rallying around the fact that many agencies are knocking on the doors of opposition leaders. Now, the Enforcement Directorate is all set to grill K Kavitha in the Liquorgate scam at about 11 a.m. today. According to ED sources, the agency has enough evidence against K Kavitha, which will establish the fact that she was involved in the Liquorgate scam. They are also saying there are at least 3 suspects who have alleged her involvement in this case. Kavitha will be confronted with her frontman, Arun Pillai, who has moved court in order to retract from the statements that he's already given to the Enforcement Directorate. Now, if you remember, Arun Pillai is a part of the South cartel that was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate on the 6th of March. Kavitha, on the other hand, remains very confident. She claimed that the agencies will not find any evidence against her and also slammed the Bharati Janata Party government over the action that is being taken by the Enforcement Directorate. Her father and Telangana Chief Minister has also hit back at the BJP, accusing the Saffron Party of causing trouble for Telangana and the opposition parties. Manish Sisodia, who's a prime accused in the case, has been sent to 7 days ED custody. Kavitha, in an exclusive interview with India Today's Rajdeep Sardesai, hit back at the centre and dared the government to arrest her. Listen in to that exclusive conversation.
The ED says that Arun Pillai, who's been arrested last week, is essentially a frontman for you in Indo Spirits, a company which has been a big beneficiary from the Delhi liquor alleged scam. Your ex-chartered accountant was arrested last month. Akshay Boinapalli, who's a son of a TRS leader, has been arrested. Sameer Mahindru, who is a businessman, who is the owner of Indo Spirits, has been arrested. All of this is slowly coming towards you, particularly after Arun Pillai's arrest.
राजीव जी, मैं एक बात पूछती हूँ. आपने बहुत देखा होगा, ED also you've seen earlier work. Did they advertise all of this? What ED right now does is they want the media trial to happen even before anything happens, and they specifically leak information to media when they have nothing to prove. This entire episode started in August last year when they started raiding many people. They've done more than 500 raids. They found nothing. And they've raided and raided and raided, and they've abused many people left, right and center. They've beaten up people. They've forcefully made them say names. They've done a lot of things. One person who was beaten up, whose eardrum broke, had filed a writ petition in Telangana High Court saying ED is doing excess and I should not be called back to ED. Another person arrested in the same case said it is nothing but political harassment. They're only asking me to give away names, only political names. I'm not going to do it. He filed a writ petition in Telangana High Court. Both of them are pending. So the entire nature of this investigations, with all whatever names you said, is basically irrelevant, and they spin a narrative and they want to put me in between the conversation.
Now, you don't know any of these names that I've named. You don't know Arun Pillai, you don't know Samir Mahendru, you don't know Akshay Boinapalli, you don't know your ex-chartered accountant. These are not names that you know?
No.
Who all been arrested in this case?
I know Rajdeep ji, I know Maria Shekil, I know 100 other people. Now, after this interview, what Mr. Rajdeep will do outside of this interview, how am I concerned? And if you are telling me that just because you and I spend half an hour together, I should be responsible for whatever you do, that is one aspect. Second aspect, and till date, nobody knows what is a scam. One BJP leader says it is 1 lakh crore scam. Other BJP leader says it's 1,000 crore scam. Other BJP leader says that I paid 100 crores to Manish Sisodia. I did not even meet the gentleman till now. Why
You've never met Manish Sisodia?
I have never met Manish Sisodia in my entire life.
You haven't
not even accidentally in an event we haven't met.
You know, but the ED states in its charge sheet that Arun Pillai, who's been arrested last week, disclosed that there was a deal between K Kavitha and Arvind Kejriwal-led AAP in exchange for 100 crore kickbacks. Kavitha got access to the Delhi liquor business, specifically stakes in Indo Spirit. Arun Pillai was representing Kavitha and Indo Spirit, even became a partner on her behalf. They've even given details of meetings that you've allegedly held in Hotel Oberoi Maidens here in Delhi.
Sir, all I'm telling you is, today in this interview, I'll openly say, I have given 1,000 crores to Mr. Narendra Modi. And I'll tell you 100 names, 100 things, 100 places. Will the ED put a case on Mr. Modi? If you put a person inside ED interrogation room for more than 30 days, you're calling these people repeatedly, harassing these people repeatedly, making them say names and things that does not concern me. How am I responsible? And what kind of torture is this, calling every businessman, whoever is going from Hyderabad to do some business somewhere?
Now, there's a war that is brewing between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot in the state of Rajasthan, and now a new incident is adding fuel to this fire. In a veiled attack at Ashok Gehlot government over its handling of the Pulwama martyr widows protest, Rajasthan's former Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot has said that this sensitive issue must be handled with care and a lot of compassion. Claiming that the issue must not be politicized as the army does not belong to any political party, Sachin Pilot went ahead and said the government should at least meet the protesters and make them understand compassionately. On the other side, he also added that this issue could have been handled in a much better way. If you remember, the widows of Pulwama heroes have been demanding a change in the rules so that their relatives and not just children can get government jobs. The widows are also demanding roads and statues should be installed in the name of their husbands in their respective villages. Now, reacting to the demands that are being made by these wives, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot, has asked if it would be appropriate to give jobs to other relatives of the Jawans instead of their children.
मैंने पहले भी कहा, आज भी कहता हूं कि कारण कोई भी हो, अगर कोई वीरांगना अपनी बात को रखती है, उसकी बात को हम माने या ना माने वो बात का विषय है। लेकिन उनके साथ जो व्यवहार पुलिस ने किया, जो हमने टेलीविज़न में देखा, वो उसको कोई भी एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकता है। और किसी भी नागरिक के साथ अगर कोई इस प्रकार का व्यवहार करता है, उसको हम एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकते। खासकर जो महिला हैं, विधवा हैं, और कोई भी कारण रहा हो, उनकी बातों को मानना ना मानना, जायज़ रखना ना रखना, केंद्र सरकार, राज्य सरकार, वो विषय बात का है। लेकिन जिस प्रकार का ट्रीटमेंट किया, जो मेरे को खुद वो बता रही थी, तो मैं खुद बहुत आहत था।
देखिए, कोई भी लोक कल्याणकारी सरकार अपने नागरिकों की बात को सुने, समाधान का प्रयास करे, उसको नज़रअंदाज नहीं करे, अनदेखी नहीं करे। वीरांगनाओं की जो जितनी जायज़ बातें थी, मंत्री उनके अंत्येष्टियों के दौरान गए, सड़क की बात की, स्कूल की, अस्पताल की, तो जो सार्वजनिक महत्व की बात थी, जो शहीद के नामकरण की बात थी, मुझे लगता है कि उसके बारे में कोई सियासत की या किसी तरीके की आवश्यकता नहीं थी। मुख्यमंत्री जी को उदारता से आगे आकर इसके समाधान का प्रयास करना चाहिए था।
वीरांगनाओं को जिस प्रकार हिरासत में ले जाकर चिकित्सालयों में भर्ती करवाया है, वो निंदनीय है। छोटे छोटे बच्चों के साथ वीरांगनाएं 10 दिन से ज़्यादा समय तक धरने पर बैठी। प्रातः 3 बजे उनको इस तरह जबरन उठाया गया। उनके समर्थकों को अलग अलग थानों में बंद कर दिया गया। इसकी जितनी निंदा की जाए उतनी कम हो। सवाल ये है कि इन शहीदों की अंत्येष्टि के समय पर प्रभारी मंत्री और दूसरे मंत्रियों ने जो तबाड़तोड़ घोषणाएं की, वो 4 साल तक लागू नहीं की। इससे व्यथित होकर वीरांगनाएं धरने पर बैठी। सरकार के मुखिया को चाहिए हर मामले को राजनीतिक चश्मे से नहीं देखकर कम से कम जिन्होंने शहादत दे दी, जिन शहादत का अपमान नहीं करके वीरांगनाओं से बात करें।
जो भी महिला है, चाहे वीरांगना हो या कोई भी हो, दुर्व्यवहार तो दुर्व्यवहार कभी स्वीकार नहीं हो सकता। समाधान यदि वो अपने देवर के लिए नौकरी चाहते हैं तो समाधान भारत सरकार गृह मंत्रालय से है, और यदि वो अपने बच्चों का प्राथमिकता देते हैं, जो मैंने स्वयं उनको कहा है।
My colleague Devankur is now joining me live on this story from Rajasthan. Dev, it seems like this one incident has again brought to the fore the infighting that is taking place in Rajasthan Congress. On one side is Sachin Pilot, on the other side is Ashok Gehlot.
Well, a very veiled, subtle attack from Sachin Pilot's side on Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. You know, this entire issue, Aishwarya, could have been prevented from snowballing into such a major controversy for the Gehlot government. It is quite humiliating for the Gehlot government, seeing how, the entire matter is playing out on the streets. Yesterday, Dr. Kirodi Lal Meena, who is the BJP MP in Rajya Sabha, was literally dragged by the police while he was moving towards the house of Manju Jat, who is wife of one of the martyrs, that is Rohitash Lamba. The Rajasthan Chief Minister Aishwarya could have called these three widows to his residence, spoken to them, and tried to sort, the entire matter out. If the government believes that job cannot be given to another relative of the widow, then that could have been talked out. Communication can help solve a lot of problems, and effective communication, if put in
Right.
usefully, can avoid all of this controversy. But the Rajasthan government perhaps lacking that sensitivity, lacking
Right,
that bit
Dev.
of connectivity with these widows.
My colleague Dev giving us all the details on what's happening in the state of Rajasthan. We have got some breaking news coming in at the moment. The Enforcement Directorate has recovered cash and gold from Lalu Prasad Yadav's house after conducting raids. During the raids, 53 lakh rupees, US dollars of about 1900 have been found out. 450 grams of gold and bullion coins have been found during the raids. 1.5 kilo of gold jewelry has also been seized. The sources in the agency have said that more locations are being added to the search operation, and these items have been found in a house in South Delhi where Lalu Prasad Yadav's son and Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejashwi Yadav was present. My colleague Shreya Chatterjee is now joining me on the phone line on this story. Shreya, a big haul has been found by the Enforcement Directorate, and now they are claiming that more such raids will take place.
Yes, absolutely. So there are simultaneous raids that will take place as far as the ED is concerned. Now, what we are learning right now that there has been a recovery from South Delhi residents where of Lalu Prasad Yadav, where gold and cash jewelry has already been retrieved, but there are simultaneous raids that's also been carrying out. Remember, only recently Lalu Prasad Yadav was also questioned by the Enforcement Directorate, and also his wife was questioned by the agency.
Thank you, Shreya, for joining me with all those details on this story. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you for watching India Today. For more news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can also download the app. This is me, Aishwarya Paliwal, signing off.
You are watching India Today.
The Liquorgate fire is spreading from Delhi to Telangana. The Enforcement Directorate is set to question K Kavitha on Saturday. Kavitha, BRS leader and daughter of Telangana Chief Minister K Chandrashekar Rao, was to appear before the ED on Thursday, but had requested a fresh date. Facing charges of corruption in the alleged Liquorgate scam, Kavitha unleashed a series of attacks on the Narendra Modi government.
फ्रेंडली उनके जितने भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज होते हैं उन पे कोई रेड नहीं होता है. फ्रेंडली उनके जितने भी बिजनेस हाउसेस हैं उन पे कोई रेड नहीं होता है. उन सब के लिए तो 7 खून माफ़ हो जाते हैं. अब अदानी जी ले लीजिए, बाकी बहुत लोग हैं, उन पे तो कुछ नहीं होता है. और आज तो इतना चर्चा है पूरे देश भर में कि देश में डबल इंजन सरकार चल रहा है और ये दो इंजन कौन है देश में? एक इंजन प्रधानी है, दूसरा इंजन अदानी है।
The ED claims Kavitha holds 65% stake in Indo Spirits, one of the alleged beneficiaries of the AAP government's liquor policy in Delhi that was scrapped last year. The agency claims Arun Ramachandran Pillai, who is now in custody, acted as a front for the BRS leader.
अरुण पिल्लई को जानती हैं क्योंकि उनकी शायद ईडी को लेकर के आपसे सवाल करने वाली है, उनसे आमना सामना होगा।
आपको ईडी का बहुत जानकारी है भाई, अंदर से कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रहा है क्या? ईडी जो भी पूछेंगे हम उनका जवाब दे देंगे, आप टेंशन मत लीजिए।
The ED summons to Kavitha have raised the political temperatures in Telangana, where assembly elections are scheduled later this year.
తప్పకుండా కవిత గారైనా ఎవరైనా కూడా అవినీతి పరులు అయితే వాళ్ళకు తప్పు చేయలేనప్పుడు కోర్టును ఆశ్రయించాలి, వాళ్ళు న్యాయం నిరూపించుకోవాలి, వాళ్ళు తప్పు చేయని విషయం నిరూపించుకోవాలి. అవినీతి విషయంలో నరేంద్ర మోడీ ప్రభుత్వం చాలా సీరియస్ ఉన్నది. ఇది భారతీయ జనతా పార్టీకి సంబంధం లేదు. కేసీఆర్ కొడుకు అన్నిట్లో స్పందిస్తాడు, అన్నిట్లో మురుగుతాడు, అన్నిట్లో వాగుతాడు. మరి అని ఇంతవరకు కనీసం స్పందించలే. ఇది వాస్తవం, ఫ్యాక్ట్, ఇది నిజమా. ఒక్కటి ఏంటంటే కేసీఆర్ ఫ్యామిలీకి ఒక ఫ్యాషన్ గా మారింది.
They are using ED as a tool to harass other opposition parties. Even more strangers, even before ED sends summons, the entire local BJP will start speaking. పంపించేస్తాము, రేపు సమన్లు వస్తాయి, ఎల్లుండి సమన్లు వస్తాయి. So is it not a fact that ED, IT and CBI are extended arms of Narendra Modi?
The BJP sees Telangana as a potential growth area in South India. The Liquorgate scam in Delhi is set to figure prominently in its Telangana campaign while it mars KCR's national ambitions. Bureau Report, India Today.
The world is commemorating International Women's Day, and in this episode of Health 360, we are putting the spotlight on women's health. The least talked about issues, the breast health of women, the right to have leads during your periods. That's a heated debate in the country right now. What about the right to postpone motherhood, the right to freeze your eggs? These are the least talked about problems associated with women, and that's the reason why Health 360 this week is putting the focus on them. I'm Sneha Mordani. To get a leave or not during your periods, well, that's the issue that is being hotly debated in India and outside of India. Do women need period leaves or menstruation leaves, as we call them, during this difficult time when they're having their periods? There is a debate. In fact, there are people who say yes, it is required. There are many who say it isn't. We get you the complete report.
Periods, a word that's still taboo. People are still afraid to say it out loud. I'm down, said in hushed whispers, if you want to tell a female co-worker or friend about your not being in the best of moods.
I still hide this pad while heading to a common washroom in public and feel at a loss of words if I feel like taking an off the day I'm down.
What is it with the mood swings, feeling of annoyance, or crankiness while you're down? It's science. Women are in a different space altogether when they are menstruating.
Some women have a lot of pain, few have heavy cycles, few face like premenstrual problems that start off with water retention, breast tenderness. So these can be issues. Very few of them may have a nausea tendency also. So in different women there are different kind of symptoms, but it may not be necessary that in every cycle they are facing same problems.
Everyone who has ever worked on a team with mostly female members understands what menstruation does to a woman's mind and body. On day one of their period, many women are not exactly in the mental or physical state to carry on with life as usual. Most don't like to call in sick unless they really have to, and that is the reason why efforts are being made by a handful of corporate houses to introduce menstrual leave. Many companies like Nike, Zomato, Byju's, Swiggy, Industry Arc, Fly My Biz have started introducing menstruation leave in light of this. Even many countries like Japan, Taiwan, Indonesia, South Korea and Zambia have included menstruation leave policies. But is menstruation leave really needed?
We can use hot water bottles, we can use warm teas, there are ginseng herb teas. So this can be used. If required, then a little bit of painkiller. Otherwise, if can be avoided, should be avoided. That depends. If you have to ask for help from a gynecologist, please do take.
As is the case of every argument, there are two sides to this too. We spoke to a few women who are against it.
Maybe for me it is more painful and critical. For some people it is easy. So it's a point of discussion and also depends on individual's choice.
Spain has implemented it and it's been a huge success there.
If you want to level the playing field for like males and females, then you just can't go and ask for leaves on period days because that would be unfair to the other gender, I guess.
This is very debatable because there are times when you don't really feel like going to the office, you feel very low and lethargic.
Don't think so. Not in my lifetime.
Some say much of the criticism of the menstrual leave policy is myopic. It fails to acknowledge the lasting impact such a policy could have on the overall physical and mental wellness of women.
Good immunity can help you in a lot of things, like if there is a little heavy flow, if you have a good hemoglobin, your dietary pattern is good, there will be even after a blood loss, your body will not go down with the low hemoglobin, you will not feel more low. Plus routine exercises so that you can deal with little bit of cramps with it.
In India, the apex court has weighed in too. On February 24th, the Supreme Court put the ball in centre's court while hearing a petition on menstrual leave in India. A petitioner had filed a PIL in Supreme Court seeking a direction to all the states to frame rules for menstrual pain leaves for female students and working women at their respective workplaces. Hearing the plea, a bench headed by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrashekar urged the petitioners to approach the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development with a representation seeking a policy decision on the issue. In India, menstrual leave is not a new ask, with Bihar having introduced it in 1992 and the Menstruation Benefits Bill tabled in Parliament in 2017. Efforts have been made by women to break the stigma around it. French visual artist Ingrid Moen, in her series of 12 portraits titled Red is the Color, showed women wearing their menstrual blood as lipstick. The last thing most women would want the day before running a marathon is to come on their period. But when it happened to Kiran Gandhi on the eve of the London Marathon, she decided to take her menstruation in her stride, using it as an opportunity to address period taboo and stand up for women around the world. The 26-year-old decided to run 26.2 miles without a tampon, allowing the blood to seep onto her leggings between her legs.
Period leave is necessary. It normalizes menstruation and conversations around it. Or is menstrual leave condescending? Well, The conversation is in continuum. With camera person Kishan Kumar, this is Kshitija Gosavi for India Today.
Women's health is very different from that of a man's. Our bodies are built very differently. Our physical and mental needs are very, very different. We've put together this report for you, giving you a sense of what you should be prioritizing.
The most frequently taken for granted, ignored, last on the priority list. We're talking about the health of women that gets the least amount of attention and actually deserves the maximum. And that is the reason this Women's Day we decided to do a bit of a rethink on what women should and must do for improving their health and their lifestyle. These are the things we must all follow. Fitness and food. This is a much needed power combination for women's health and longevity. The idea of fitness for many women is just losing weight. Healthy eating and diet and exercise are equally important in controlling weight as well as overall health management. No to toxins. Alcohol, smoking, excessive sugar, junk, mindless eating. These ensure that toxins stay on in the body. These toxins have a proven history of negative impact on ovarian health. Wellness. A comprehensive view of your health. Healthy body, mind and soul are important. The time is truly now to shift focus from only physical activity to mental health and wellness program like yoga and meditation as a full package to good health. Preventive care. Early diagnosis and vaccinations are important. For ailment like breast cancer, for example, preventive health becomes extremely important. Women must watch out for any sign and warnings such as irregular periods, lump in the breast or any unusual discharge.
HPV, human papilloma virus, one of the causative factor for a cervical cancer. So this is one cancer where a vaccine is available. So should be given to, I would say, young girls starting from the age of 9.
That is the only way to remain fit and healthy. For the same, acknowledge that your body is important.
Low hemoglobin will feel fatigued, lethargic, then like vitamin B12, vitamin D, if they are less, then it gives a lot of aches and pains in legs. A lot of ladies complain about backache and they are not feeling up to the mark to do some kind of work or these things. So according to the requirement, thyroid, one of the things, if the thyroid is on a higher side, the patient may bleed more. There is a little weight gain with hypothyroid. So if there are any symptoms, they are specifically feeling low, lethargic, then they should go for this testing.
It's time for a quick commercial break here. We're getting you much more news around women's health on the other side.
The catchphrase which we've noticed here at MWC and all around the world since November, I think the last time that we met, has been generative artificial intelligence. Generative AI, ChatGPT being spoken about all over the world. How much of an impact do you think that will have on the workflow on the tech side, on exactly how a tech company operates, on how our jobs will pan out in the next few months?
I am so happy about the generative AI. The reason I'm happy is it's the same way, because we are in Mobile World Congress. I'll give you an example that 95-96, if you remember, India was one of the most highest cost per minute call, and incoming and outgoing both charge 16 rupees a minute. And those blind calls, call me back. I was from that upbringing, and I land in Hong Kong airport. There was this bank of phones, but people were talking on a mobile phone. And I came back and I said, this is an industry you need to be in. The convenience was 10 steps away. People were talking on mobile phones. So what happened? Mobile phone automated the public phone systems.
Correct.
It automated everything that came along. And you know, I mean, I don't have to describe to you whether it's a health tech, fintech, media tech, whatever device it is.
Absolute disruptor.
Now, to me, it did not take away jobs, it created jobs. Now, this is exactly what I think about generative AI. That the use cases are there. And the more they get defined, that means more jobs it will create. Technology is the heart of everything.
The right to decide when you want to get pregnant, if it has to be at the age of 40 or above. Egg freezing is giving this right to a whole lot of women in India. In fact, it is a fast-catching trend. What's really going on in the country right now? What are the doctors and experts saying about egg freezing, and what are things that you must be looking out for if you want to postpone motherhood for whatever reasons, career reasons, social reasons, or health reasons? Take a look.
Ekta Kapoor has done it. So has Rita Ora, Diana Hayden, and actor Mona Singh. The list is endless. Just so many women are freezing their eggs, postponing motherhood for various reasons: social, health, career, or personal. Social egg freezing has been lauded for its potential on the basis that it enables women to have it all, by allowing them to focus on their careers and have children later on. It truly is empowering women.
Our goals is first to make aware of the concept. We want people to, we want women to be aware of the concept of egg freezing. Second, we want to educate women about the procedure and what exactly they're going to go through. And third, we want to empower women. In fact, you know, with egg freezing, equality in the world is not only a slogan. Egg freezing actually gives the women the opportunity to make it happen.
And the trend is catching up. Gynecologists across the city have seen a rise in the number of inquiries for egg freezing, where a woman's eggs are extracted, frozen, and stored. Later, whenever she plans to get pregnant, the eggs are thawed, fertilized, and transferred to the uterus as embryos.
Egg freezing is gaining a lot of interest these days because of a lot of changes happening around us. There are two facts we need to understand. One is that every female is born with certain number of eggs, and number two, the quality as well as quantity of these eggs declines as the female ages. Now, the second concept is that because of change in the lifestyle these days, and because of females being more into a career and gaining more heights into their own professional goals, the age of marriage is getting late. So, egg freezing is a concept where we try to maintain the quality as well as quantity of eggs over the period of time.
So what exactly is this process? Egg retrieval is the process of removing eggs from your ovaries. During this process, you'll arrive at your doctor's office or clinic and an IV will be administered. This will allow them to provide general anesthesia for the procedure, since you'll be asleep during the process. During the egg retrieval, your doctor will use a transvaginal ultrasound probe with a needle, which is inserted in your follicles under ultrasound guidance. The fluid inside the follicles that contains the eggs is aspirated and collected into tubes, which are then given to an embryologist. The embryologist will then examine the follicular fluid and identify the eggs. The entire process takes roughly 10 to 20 minutes to complete. Once you wake up, your doctor will tell you how many eggs were retrieved. We also caught up with Mishwa, who says this is her right and there's no shame in freezing her eggs. After all, this is her body.
I would like to give one message to everyone that you don't have to be afraid or you don't have to be ashamed of doing it, because this is not something that you are doing wrong. You are just thinking about yourself, which is not bad. I am 30 years old. I have just started my professional career and I don't want to start my family right there and right now. I just want to travel the world. I want to just be out there, and then I'll plan my pregnancy after maybe 2 or 3 years later. And I don't want to regret at that point of time that if I had done this earlier, then I won't have to go for unnecessary treatments at that time.
Mishwa is still unmarried but took this decision at a very young age just to focus on her career.
There is always a rat race between a professional career and a personal life, whether to, excel in your professional career, whether you want to take a break for your pregnancy or to take care of the baby or no. So egg freezing gives me the wings to fly.
The flip side of egg freezing is the cost. The process of egg freezing is cheaper in India than in most other countries. In India, it costs approximately between 1,50,000 and 1,70,000. Costs may go up depending on the number of cycles needed and later embryo creation and implantation fee. A woman's fertility declines with age. That decline accelerates in her late 30s due to a sharp decrease in both quantity and quality of available eggs. To ensure healthy and viable eggs, some fertility experts suggest limiting elective egg freezing to women aged 38 and under. Companies like Google and Facebook are the first to encourage women for this process and on bearing the expenses for them too. Many ask if this is sending the wrong message, that work is more important than family. Whatever the case, it really is about a woman's choice at the end of the day.
Social egg freezing is viewed as a boom for ambitious career-minded women who are not ready to have children but may want later in life. In fact, even those who are not pursuing their career but want to delay their motherhood due to some social reasons are increasingly coming forward for egg freezing. It's a very personal choice that every woman has right to make. With camera person Alok, Sabai Kram for India Today.
Domestic violence has been normalized. In fact, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies or thoughts is very, very common in women who suffer domestic violence. What's really going on? Well, if you are in fact a victim of domestic violence or if you know of someone who is, then this report is an eye-opener.
Domestic abuse. The thought of it sends shiver down the spine. Think of the plight of women who go through this stigma and the social complexities involved, making just so many people brush this domestic violence under the carpet. But it has an impact. A far-reaching one on how the victim and the impact on her daily life. How she looks at relationships and how it plays out vis-a-vis her physical and mental health. Adults who have been the victims of domestic violence are much more prone than general population to experience mental health disorders regardless of their nature.
Biologically, an individual might be predisposed to having impulsivity, aggression as a part of their nature and their personality, which when accompanied by certain biological and cultural factors, which means that a societal acceptance of violence, societal acceptance of certain behaviors which are suggestive of abuse, which are limited to one gender, which are limited to certain positions of power in the society. So these factors can then intermingle and lead to the complex behavior that can manifest as abuse.
Women with their mental health diagnosis were also found to have been more likely to have suffered from domestic violence than women with no mental health diagnosis. Such diagnoses were eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and other mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and PTSD.
these abusers are very well versed with human behavior and with human psychology. So they understand that if their behavior of abuse is evident in the first or the second date, maybe it will not culminate into a relationship. So initially, when an individual is setting the road to a relationship, or the dating period is going on, during that time, if there might be a high intensity of love that these individuals show.
The actual rate of domestic violence and sexual assault is unknown because many experiencing it are afraid to even disclose or report it. Abuse does not need to have a multiple occurrence or be carried out over years to be considered domestic violence. Even one episode can have serious impact and should not be overlooked. Domestic violence includes any of the following: physical violence, hitting, kicking, slapping, or other types of physical force intended to hurt the partner. Sexual violence, forced or attempted forcing of a partner to engage in sexual actions when the partner does not consent or is not capable of consent. Psychological aggression, verbal and non-verbal communication to erode a person's self-worth, harm the partner mentally or emotionally, or exert control or power over the partner. Stalking, repeated unwanted attention and or contact that triggers fear or worry about the partner's safety or the safety of others that are close to the victim. Stalking means the communication is not consensual and may include verbal, written, or implied threat. Controlling behavior are harmful to relationship and may point to more severe domestic abuse. Controlling behaviors are actions, whether verbal or physical, that limit a partner's mobility or access to friend, family, environment outside of their home. The victim may also be deprived of food, money, or access to healthcare. Moreover, there may be forced reproduction. This includes actions in a partnership that may involve or not involve physical or sexual violence and are relevant to reproductive health. This includes, but is not limited to, refusing to engage in safe sex, purposeful exposure to STDs, interfering with or undermining contraception, and limiting access to medical care.
So first and foremost thing that needs to go is the guilt or the shame that is being associated with going through this sort of behavior. We need to very clearly understand the right and wrong, and the abuser is the person who's wrong. The one who's been abused or the victim is not wrong, and their behaviors cannot be scrutinized to see where they went wrong. So what is important is that society is more non-judgmental. We give these women the strength to come out, speak loudly about what is happening to them, so that there are structural changes that can come along the way to support the society to become a more human society.
In addition to this, domestic violence can occur in younger persons and is often referred to as teen dating violence, TDV, which impacts millions of teenagers. Approximately 11 million women who reported experience of intimate partner violence shared that they first experienced sexual or physical violence or stalking before the age of 18.
Relationships, while meant to enrich our lives and those of our partners, can have a darker side that often goes unnoticed or unaddressed. Well, domestic violence is a serious public health issue, and it affects survivors' mental and physical state. While the effects of domestic violence can be devastating, they're preventable. We can all play a part in having healthy, respectful, and non-violent relationships. With video journalist Vinod Kumar, this is Kshitija Gosavi for India Today.
That brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. Well, it is often said that the health of the family and the community is often tied to the health of women, and that's the reason why Health 360 continues to put the focus on these issues that matter to women. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did, putting it together for you. Until next time, thank you. Take care of yourself.
first question is about the latest notification by India's Finance Ministry. They've bought crypto transactions under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So what do you think? Is this move a positive one for the industry, or is it going to slow down the growth of the industry, and how is it going to impact cyber frauds and financial transactions like that? So let us know, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is a good question. Of course, generally speaking, at Binance, we do welcome opportunities to actively engage with regulators, and we definitely do support clear rules of the game, clear regulations, because, of course, we believe that there has to be a set of defined rules by which cryptocurrencies have to behave. So having a clear regulatory framework is a definitely step in the positive directions. And of course, Binance and other large cryptocurrency exchanges will have to carefully study these rules and behave accordingly. When it comes to the actual cooperation with law enforcement and compliance and fighting criminals, I believe there won't be too many surprises in this end, because Binance is already compatible with legislation in many other jurisdictions, and often we go far above of what is necessary. So we can then, of course, discuss the individual compliance bits and pieces if we have time to go into greater details.
So since you just mentioned that Binance has several times, cooperated with law enforcement agencies and governments to curb money laundering, could you tell us about a few instances where they worked with the Indian agencies, say the Enforcement Directorate, to curb cyber fraud in India?
Indeed. And as you can imagine, like somebody who has 12 years of experience and moved to Binance last year, it is of really great personal importance for me to support law enforcement investigations around the world. So I have to say that we do support criminal investigations in India and other jurisdictions. So far, we have had a very positive experience supporting Enforcement Directorate investigations, as well as working with other law enforcement agencies. An example of such practical cooperation would be our support of the e-nuggets investigation, investigation that has generated a lot of media interest over the last few months. And during this investigation, we have provided extensive support to Enforcement Directorate, often under very short deadlines. And as you have noticed in the media, our cooperation led to identification of the suspects and ultimately led to a substantial seizure of funds. So this was one of the great examples of the public-private cooperation.
Watching India Today.
Hello, you're watching India Today and I am Aishwarya Paliwal. Let's start the show with the headlines. BRS MLC K Kavitha to appear before the Enforcement Directorate in the Liquorgate case today. Joint grilling of Kavitha and frontman Pillai most likely. Enforcement Directorate says they have proof of her involvement in the scam. Big DK Shiv Kumar exclusive interview. Stage is all set for the state of war in Karnataka. Shiv Kumar says Bamai government is corrupt, claims it is only the Congress party that can reunite the state.
Earlier they said that they are going to run the elections with Bommaiji's leadership. Now they are telling that you please vote for Modi and for a double-engine government. Where is the double-engine government? The engine itself is not started.
Pulwama widows turns political. Fresh Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot showdown. Ashok Gehlot calls the widows' demand as inappropriate. Sachin Pilot says Ashok Gehlot should be a little more sensitive. In a major move following an Indian Navy helicopter ditching at the sea this week, the armed forces have grounded the entire fleet of HAL Dhruv advanced light helicopters as a cautionary move. Facebook owner's big decision. Meta is exploring plans to launch a new social media app in a bid to displace Elon Musk's Twitter as the world's digital town square. News that's just coming in. Manish Sisodia has sent out a message from Tihar jail. He says that probe agencies cannot do me any harm. He's also taken a pot shot at the central government. He's gone ahead and said, nothing can break my spirit. This is the message coming from the former Deputy Delhi Chief Minister Manish Sisodia from Tihar jail. He's saying that his spirit cannot be broken. He's taken a dig at the central government and also taken a dig at the probe agencies. My colleague Amit Bharadwaj is now joining me on this story. Amit, it seems like Manish Sisodia is sending these clear messages. Outside, we are seeing it's Arvind Kejriwal who's saying that his spirit cannot be broken. And from inside the jail, we are now seeing this message by Manish Sisodia.
Right, Aishwarya, this is apparently the third message coming from Manish Sisodia from Tihar jail. 2 tweets and 1 letter which has been shot out by Manish Sisodia from Tihar jail, and this time around he's very clearly attacking the central government, saying that he can be put behind the bars, but that will not break his spirit, that will not break his courage. And he has in fact tried to juxtapose himself with the freedom fighters, saying that even Britishers had put freedom fighters behind the bars, but that did not break they were not able to break their courage. So clearly a message being sent out by Manish Sisodia, and very importantly, Aishwarya, this message comes barely 24 hours after Manish Sisodia was produced in the Reservation court and has been given his custody has been given to the Enforcement Directorate. So a posturing of sorts is being maintained by Manish Sisodia and Aam Aadmi Party as far as the excise policy case is concerned. They continue to maintain that Manish Sisodia is an education minister who is being penalized. Manish Sisodia showing a brave face in his public appearances, in the letter that he has shot out, and now the latest tweet coming from Tihar jail itself, the Twitter handle of Manish Sisodia is being handled by his team. So messages are being sent out by Manish Sisodia from Tihar jail. And in this message, Manish Sisodia is again keeping up a brave face, saying that nothing can break his spirit, nothing can break his courage. So clearly, an attempt by Aam Aadmi Party and former Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia to send out a message to the supporters and workers that even in this moment, his spirit is strong, his remaining courageous. Back to you, Aishwarya.
Thank you, Amit, for joining me with all those details. A very strong message coming from inside the jail from Manish Sisodia. He's tweeting, his team is tweeting, and he's saying nothing can break my spirit. Now, the Enforcement Directorate is all set to grill K Kavitha in the Liquorgate scam at 11 a.m. today. According to ED sources, the agency has enough evidence against Kavitha to establish she was involved in this scam. Now, ahead of the grilling, Kavitha supporters hit out at the streets and also raised slogans against the central government. The Enforcement Directorate sources, meanwhile, have said at least 3 suspects have alleged her involvement with this scam. Kavitha will be confronted with her frontman Arun Pillai, who has already moved court in order to retract from the statements that he gave in front of the Enforcement Directorate. Now, if you remember, it was Arun Pillai who was part of a South cartel which is being arrested by the Enforcement Directorate on the 6th of March. Kavitha, on the other hand, remains very confident. She is claiming that the agencies will not be able to find any evidence against her. She's also gone ahead and slammed the Bharati Janata Party government over the actions that are being taken against her. Her father and Telangana Chief Minister has also hit back at the BJP, accusing the Saffron Party of causing trouble for Telangana and all the opposition parties. Manish Sisodia, meanwhile, who's a prime accused in this case, has been sent to 7 days ED custody. Now, K Kavitha, in an exclusive interview with India Today's Rajdeep Sardesai, hit back at the centre and dared the government to arrest her. Listen into that exclusive conversation.
The ED says that Arun Pillai, who's been arrested last week, is essentially a frontman for you in Indo Spirits, a company which has been a big beneficiary from the Delhi liquor alleged scam. Your ex-chartered accountant was arrested last month. Akshay Boinapalli, who's a son of a TRS leader, has been arrested. Sameer Mahindru, who is a businessman, who is the owner of Indo Spirits, has been arrested. All of this is slowly coming towards you, particularly after Arun Pillai's arrest.
राजदीप जी, मैं एक बात पूछती हूँ. आपने बहुत देखा होगा, ED also you've seen earlier work. Did they advertise all of this? What ED right now does is they want the media trial to happen even before anything happens, and they specifically leak information to media when they have nothing to prove. This entire episode started in August last year when they started raiding many people. They've done more than 500 raids. They found nothing. And they've raided and raided and raided, and they've abused many people left, right and center. They've beaten up people. They've forcefully made them say names. They've done a lot of things. One person who was beaten up, whose eardrum broke, had filed a writ petition in Telangana High Court saying ED is doing excess and I should not be called back to ED. Another person arrested in the same case said it is nothing but political harassment. They're only asking me to give away names, only political names. I'm not going to do it. He filed a writ petition in Telangana High Court. Both of them are pending. So the entire nature of this investigations, with all whatever names you said, is basically irrelevant, and they spin a narrative and they want to put me in between the conversation.
Now, you don't know any of these names that I've named. You don't know Arun Pillai, you don't know Sameer Mahindru, you don't know Akshay Boinapalli, you don't know your ex-chartered accountant. These are not names that you know?
No.
Who all been arrested in this case?
I know Rajdeep ji, I know Maria Shekil, I know 100 other people. Now, after this interview, what Mr. Rajdeep will do outside of this interview, how am I concerned? And if you are telling me that just because you and I spend half an hour together, I should be responsible for whatever you do, that is one aspect. Second aspect, and till date, nobody knows what is a scam. One BJP leader says it is 1 lakh crore scam. Other BJP leader says it's 1,000 crore scam. Other BJP leader says that I paid 100 crores to Manish Sisodia. I did not even meet the gentleman till now. Why
You've never met Manish Sisodia?
I have never met Manish Sisodia in my entire life.
You haven't
not even accidentally in an event we haven't met.
You know, but the ED states in its charge sheet that Arun Pillai, who's been arrested last week, disclosed that there was a deal between K Kavitha and Arvind Kejriwal-led AAP in exchange for 100 crore kickbacks. Kavitha got access to the Delhi liquor business, specifically stakes in Indo Spirit. Arun Pillai was representing Kavitha and Indo Spirit, even became a partner on her behalf. They've even given details of meetings that you've allegedly held in Hotel Oberoi Maidens here in Delhi.
Sir, all I'm telling you is, today in this interview, I'll openly say, I have given 1,000 crores to Mr. Narendra Modi, and I'll tell you 100 names, 100 things, 100 places. Will the ED put a case on Mr. Modi? If you put a person inside ED interrogation room for more than 30 days, you're calling these people repeatedly, harassing these people repeatedly, making them say names and things that does not concern me. How am I responsible? And what kind of torture is this, calling every businessman, whoever is going from Hyderabad to do some business somewhere in Delhi?
Meanwhile, there's a political slugfest that has erupted over Kavitha's ED grilling. Listen in to what BJP Delhi spokesperson Harish Khurana had to say on this.
आज तेलंगाना के मुख्यमंत्री की बेटी के कविता की पेशी ईडी के सामने दिल्ली के शराब घोटाले के मामले में होने वाली है। के कविता को आज बहुत सारे सवालों के जवाब देने हैं। सवालों के जवाब देने हैं कि अरुण पिल्लई से आपके क्या संबंध है। सवालों के जवाब देने की किस प्रकार से पॉलिसी जीवन में रखने से पहले आपके सीए के कंप्यूटर पे कैसे आई। 100 करोड़ रुपए की ट्रेल, 100 करोड़ से ज्यादा भी हो सकती है, 100 करोड़ की ट्रेल मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की पकड़ी गई, उसका आपको जवाब देना है। आपने किस प्रकार से पैसा आम आदमी पार्टी को दिया शराब के ठेकों के लिए, शराब के घोटाले के लिए, वो सब कुछ सामने आपको जवाब देने हैं।
My colleague Akshay Dongre is now joining me live from outside KCR's residence in the national capital. Akshay, there were many supporters who came to show their support for K Kavitha. We have also seen the kind of support that she's got from the opposition party. So it looks like, from her house till the Enforcement Directorate, it will be a show of strength by her party workers and by her supporters.
Well, absolutely, Aishwarya. In fact, we are right now standing outside the residence of KCR. The kind of barricading, the kind of security arrangements that have been put up here is clearly an anticipation by the police to ensure that even though there is a protest, K Kavitha can leave for the questioning, and there is no law and order situation here outside the residence of KCR. This is a very crucial road. If the protesters gather here, there clearly will be disruption to the traffic as well. The police cars have already gone inside the residence of KCR, where K Kavitha is living right now. KCR's son, KTR, who also holds several portfolios in the Telangana government, is inside. Several members of parliament, several ministers of Telangana government are inside. So clearly this is in support of K Kavitha, who will be going to the Enforcement Directorate for questioning in the excise policy scam. The entire matter has in fact snowballed into a larger controversy. Now the opposition, especially the Aam Aadmi Party, BRS, they all are alleging that this is a political vendetta by the Bharati Janata Party. Especially BRS has been claiming that since the BJP tries to move further south and wants to form government in Telangana, wants to have more electoral guilds in Telangana, that's why they are targeting the Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti. Also, there is a claim that is being made by the BRS that now that BRS has national ambitions from local ambitions, from regional ambitions, BJP is scared of them, and that's why they are taking or rather using the central agencies to target the leaders of the Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti. K Kavitha, however, will still need to go to the Enforcement Directorate. The questioning, there is no certainty that for how long the questioning will go on, but from the looks of it, it seems that there are several questions, several evidences that the Enforcement Directorate will be taking, asking questions on from K Kavitha. In fact, be it money trail, money laundering cases, or the entire excise policy scam, there is no respite in sight as of now for K Kavitha, despite of the clearances and assurances that they have been giving to the media or to their supporters as well. Now, as you can see, I would like to show you the kind of arrangement that are here. The Delhi police is trying to cordon this area, trying to ensure that no protesters gather here. However, the protesters that were here in the morning, they have already gone inside the house. They are currently inside the residence of KCR. But whether a larger number of protesters will be called in here by the leader, that is still a question. And it remains to be seen that what kind of arrangements the Delhi police will be making in terms of making sure that K Kavitha leaves safely from here to the Enforcement Directorate office and she is questioned properly. There is also anticipation that the BRS workers may gather outside the Enforcement Directorate office, like it had happened in the case of Manish Sisodia, that when initially he was called for questioning, there were protests
right, Akshay,
both outside Manish Sisodia's residence as well as Enforcement Directorate. So this.
We'll bring you all the visuals once K Kavitha steps out from her house. She is expected to leave her house in another half an hour. She is expected to reach the Enforcement Directorate office by about 11 a.m. today. Now, politics has erupted over Enforcement Directorate and CBI raids on Lalu Prasad Yadav for the land for job scam. The opposition leaders are unitedly slamming the BJP government for allegedly targeting them by misusing the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI, which is the Central Bureau of Investigation. The ED had questioned Tejashwi Yadav for almost 11 hours on Friday following raids at his house in the national capital. ED during these raids seized 53 lakh rupees, $1,900 about 450 grams of gold bullions and 1.5 kg of gold jewelry. All these were seized from Friday's raids. Now, former Chief Minister of Bihar, Lalu Yadav, has slammed the Bharatiya Janata Party for stooping low, and he's also said that he will not bow down and he will continue to fight the BJP. The Congress chief, Mallikarjun Kharge, has called these raids a sinister attempt to kill democracy and to silence the opposition. Mallikarjun Kharge has also claimed Tejashwi's father, Lalu Prasad Yadav, his pregnant wife and sisters were being harassed by the Enforcement Directorate in the name of raids. Kharge has questioned why BJP aides were let off when opposition leaders are being targeted.
देखिए, सुबह हम सोए हुए थे 8:30 बजे जिस तरह पूरे मकान को जिस तरह के तोड़ने का कोशिश किया, आवाज जब हुई तो हमने बेडरूम से निकले, क्या बात है, तो वारंट है ईडी का, हम उसके बाद होल्ड कर दिया, जबकि हम गिर गए, देखिए हमारी फिंगर किस तरह सूजन हो गई है। उसके बाद वो लोग आए, हमने कि जाइए जो करना है कीजिए, सारे रूम्स को एक एक किसको एकदम तोड़ फोड़ जाकर के सूटकेस को खोलना चाहिए, तोड़ दिया सूटकेस को, सारे चीज के, बच्चे का कपड़ा हमारा था। हमने पूछा कि क्या खोज रहे हैं, तो हम डॉक्यूमेंट्स देख रहे हैं, डॉक्यूमेंट्स देखिए, हमने इस तरह
क्या लगता है अगर कुछ मिला नहीं और तभी यहाँ टीम
माला इसलिए कि हम लालू यादव की पार्टी से हैं, मेरे थे, उनके साथ है, बस कारण यही है।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी, मैं तमाम प्रोटोकॉल को दरकिनार करते हुए आप तक कह रहा हूँ, ये जो संस्थाएं हैं ना, चाहे ईडी हो, आईटी हो, सीबीआई हो, उनके बारे में आप मुझे कुछ कहने की जरूरत नहीं है, पूरा देश कह रहा है। आज ईडी तथा कथित सर्च ऑपरेशन में एक बंद केस को खुलवा करके हमारे डिप्टी सीएम और उनकी बहनों के घर में पहुंचा हुआ। हमारे डिप्टी सीएम की पत्नी क्रिटिकल स्टेज ऑफ प्रेगनेंसी में, क्या ये शोभा देता है? बिला वजह आप वहाँ बैठे हुए, उनकी बहनों के घर में बैठे हुए 12 घंटे से, उनके छोटे छोटे बच्चे, क्या ये तौर तरीका हो गया नई राजनीति का कि पॉलिटिकल लड़ाई अब इस तरह लड़ी जाएगी? मैं आपसे हाथ जोड़ के विनती करता हूँ, इस राजनीति से बाज आइए, इससे किसी का कुछ भला नहीं होगा। बंद केस को खुलवा करके आप पॉलिटिकल लड़ाई नहीं लड़ पाइएगा।
जहाँ जहाँ भारतीय जनता पार्टी कमजोर है, वहाँ वहाँ विपक्ष के नेताओं पे इस प्रकार से हमले किए जा रहे हैं। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की बी टीम अब ईडी, आईटी, सीबीआई, डीआरआई ये सब हो गया है।
Now, many opposition parties are unitedly speaking about the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI raids that are taking place, especially on opposition leaders. Now, they are unitedly slamming the BJP government for allegedly targeting them by misusing the Enforcement Directorate and the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, Tejashwi Yadav, who is the Deputy Chief Minister in the state of Bihar, was almost grilled for 11 hours. It is time now for us to slip into a very quick break. Japanese woman harassed on Holi. Now she has left the country and 3 have been held for molesting her. More details after this very quick break.
You are watching India Today.
Young, talented, immensely popular, and a promising career ahead. But their young lives tragically cut short. Celebrities who died way too young, leaving behind an eternal vacuum. The demise of Raju Srivastav has left the entire country in utter shock. The comedian fought a long battle with his ailment before he breathed his last at the age of 58. The reason? He experienced chest pain and collapsed while working out at a gym. However, this isn't the only time when a young celebrity had lost their life under similar circumstances. In fact, this has become more frequent phenomenon over the past year. Like Raju Srivastav, death of Krishna Kumar Kunnad, popularly known as KK, at the age of 53 also came as a shocker. KK had died moments after a live concert, where he complained of excessive heat and discomfort, causing a cardiac arrest leading to his demise. Puneet Rajkumar is also one of the celebs whose death left a huge void in the film industry. The actor was only 46 years old when he left for his heavenly abode. Puneet had complained of uneasiness to his wife Ashwini, after which he was rushed to hospital. He passed away on his way to the hospital. Puneet was known for being a teetotaler and someone who was extremely health conscious. And to lose him surely was a blow to the film fraternity. Siddharth Shukla too died at the age of 40 in September 2021 after suffering from a massive cardiac arrest. Shukla, who was fit and regularly worked out, had taken some medicines before retiring for the night, only to never wake up again. He was declared brought dead by Mumbai's Cooper Hospital. Known for his performance in Balika Vadhu, Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania, Shukla had gained popularity after he emerged as the winner of celebrity reality show Big Boss 13. While death never really has a reason, but stress, frequent travel, long working hours have been listed as some key factors that have acted as triggers for rising cases of heart attacks in men above the age of 40. And it's devastating to lose these brilliant stars way too early. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
You are watching India Today.
A young woman from Japan was groped, harassed and manhandled by a group of men in Delhi during Holi celebrations. A video of the incident, which has now gone viral on social media, has sparked outrage and calls for tough action. The accused men are seen grabbing her and smearing colours on her face, and one of the boys even smashed an egg on her head. According to the police, the woman is a Japanese tourist who was staying in Paharganj area in the national capital, and she is now left for Bangladesh. The Delhi police said they have written to the Japanese embassy requesting help in establishing her identity. The Japanese embassy was contacted and they said they don't have any information about any such incident. The three boys, including a juvenile, have been apprehended and the accused have confessed to the incident, and action has been initiated against them under the DP Act. My colleague Arvind Oza is now joining me on the phone line. Arvind, ये जो वीडियो आया था इसने सोशल मीडिया पे बहुत तहलका मचाया था। कई लोगों ने ये कहा था कि ये जो लड़के हैं जो इस वीडियो में दिख रहे हैं, इनके खिलाफ सख्त कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। पुलिस ने कार्रवाई अब इनिशिएट कर दी है।
देखिए, दिल्ली पुलिस ने कार्रवाई इनिशिएट कर दी है, लेकिन 65 दिल्ली पुलिस एक्ट में ये एक्शन हुआ है, जो बहुत नाकाफी है। ये एक्शन नॉर्मल होता है और तुरंत जो अक्यूज हैं उनको छोड़ भी दिया जाता है। सोशल मीडिया के जरिए कल दिल्ली पुलिस को जब इस बारे में जानकारी मिली थी तो बाकायदा ईमेल करके दिल्ली पुलिस ने जो जापानी एम्बेसी है उससे डिटेल्स मांगी थी, लेकिन जापानीज एम्बेसी ने दिल्ली पुलिस को ईमेल करके बताया कि हमारे पास इस तरह का कोई इंसिडेंट रिपोर्टेड नहीं है। उसके अलावा जब दिल्ली पुलिस ने लोकल इंटेलिजेंस से एस्टैब्लिश करने की कोशिश की तो पता चला जो लड़की है जो जिसका वीडियो वायरल हुआ है वो एक टूरिस्ट थी और फिलहाल वो बांग्लादेश जा चुकी है। उसने किसी तरह की कंप्लेन फाइल नहीं की है और ना जापानीज एम्बेसी से किसी तरह की कंप्लेन दिल्ली पुलिस को दी गई है। लिहाजा दिल्ली पुलिस ने स्यू मोटो लेते हुए 65 डीपी एक्ट में एक्शन लिया है।
जी अरविंद, हमें सारी जानकारी देने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। माय कॉलीग अरविंद गिविंग अस ऑल द डिटेल्स विद रिगार्ड्स। News that's just coming in. Tejashwi Yadav has been summoned by the CBI, that is the Central Bureau of Investigation, in the Land for Jobs scam today. He was earlier summoned on the 4th of February, but he did not appear in front of the CBI. Summons have now been issued and they are based on evidence and a paper trail against him in the Land for Jobs scam. Fresh summons have been issued by the CBI, that is the Central Bureau of Investigation, to the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejashwi Yadav. He's been summoned in the Land for Jobs scam. Now there's a political war that is brewing between the RJD and the BJP. The former Chief Minister of Bihar, Lalu Prasad Yadav, has said that he will fight the BJP, and he's also raising questions about the kind of raids that are now taking place with regards to his family. Fresh summons have been given by the CBI to Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tejashwi Yadav. Summons are based on evidence and a paper trail against Tejashwi Yadav in the land for job scam. Fresh summons have been issued by the CBI. Tejashwi Yadav was supposed to visit the CBI on the 4th of February, but on that day he did not appear, and now fresh summons have been given by the CBI to Tejashwi Yadav. My colleague Shreya Chatterjee is now joining me on the phone line. Shreya, it seems like, one summon after the other is being given to the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejashwi Yadav. He was supposed to go to the CBI office on the 4th, and now fresh summons have been given to him.
Well, exactly. So, Aishwarya, now this is a summon that's been given by the Central Bureau of Investigation to Tejashwi Yadav in the land for job scam. He was earlier supposed to appear on the 4th of February. He was summoned also on that day, but he did not appear. What we're given to understand from our sources in CBI that the summons are based on some evidences, and there are some paper trails that's also in the hand of the agency that directly pinpoints to Tejashwi Yadav. Remember, in this investigation, this has been reported that there were some paper trails of land in the name, allegedly, of Tejashwi Yadav, Lalu Prasad and other members in his family. And that's exactly why we see this investigation now being carried forward. So trouble mounting for Lalu Prasad Yadav and his family. Earlier, ED also had made some recoveries yesterday in the same case.
Thank you, Shreya, for joining me with all those details. My colleague Manish Pandey is now joining me on this story. Manish, it seems like one summon after the other is being given to the family of Lalu Prasad Yadav. The CBI at the moment saying that there is a paper trail that they have against Tejashwi Yadav. The CBI is now saying they have ample evidence against Tejashwi Yadav. The fresh summon has been given to Tejashwi Yadav, and all this is taking place when his father, the former Chief Minister of Bihar, Lalu Prasad Yadav, is saying that he's seen the times of emergency and he will not buckle down under the pressure of the BJP and the enforcement agencies. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you for watching India Today. For more news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can also download the app. This is me, Aishwarya Paliwal, signing off.
You are watching India Today.
Tragedies can either break you or make you. And this story from Naxal hit Gadchiroli will inspire you in many ways. Bharati Bogami was just 17 when her father, the Sarpanch of Lahiri village, was shot dead by Naxals in 2002. A brain tumor survivor, she faced several financial problems and yet continued her struggle to become a doctor. She now serves in the same area where her father was killed.
मैं सोच रही थी अब तो पापा चले गए, आज ये सब होने के बाद अगर यही मेरा फ्यूचर, अगर मैं पेपर ना दूं तो आगे कैसे बढ़ूं। मेरे पापा की एक ख्वाहिश थी कि मुझे बचपन से मुझे बोलते थे, नर्स बोलते थे, डॉक्टर बोलते थे, ऐसे मुझे अच्छा लगता था। पढ़ाई पूरी होने के बाद मैंने सोच लिया या तो सब सिटी में रहकर सब लोगों को तो डॉक्टर है, लेकिन मेरे गाँव को मेरे लोगों की बहुत ज़रूरत है। मेरे दिल में ऐसे कुछ तो भी चुभन जैसी लग रही थी कि अपने गाँव जाके मैं सेवा दूँ, इसीलिए फिर मैं रिटर्न आ गई।
Bogami found a life and work partner in Satish, who moved from Beed to the tribal area only to support her dream of serving her village.
मेरी जो बीवी है उसने मुझे मोटिवेट किया कि उन्होंने मुझे ये बताया कि डॉक्टर प्रकाश आमटे, डॉक्टर मंदाकिनी आमटे, डॉक्टर दिगांत आमटे और डॉक्टर अंदाकिनी आमटे वो जो कार्य वहाँ करते, उनसे कुछ मैं इंस्पायर होके मुझे भी ऐसा कुछ लगा दिल को कि अपन जाके आरोग्य में थोड़ी तो सेवा देना। मेरे अंतर्गत जो 52 गांव है वहां जाना इम्पॉसिबल है। कई बाइक पे जाना पड़ता, कई जगह 10-10 किलोमीटर चलते हुए जाना पड़ता, वो आरोग्य सेवा देना पड़ता है।
Bharati and her husband have made it an aim to serve people in her village where health facilities are not easily available. Bureau Report, India Today.
You are watching India Today.
We keep the news straight, but boy, are we an opinionated newsroom. This is the Democratic Newsroom, and if there was one big headline in the week gone by, there were two words: Rahul Gandhi. On a tour to the United Kingdom where he spent a week just after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, Rahul Gandhi has kicked up headline after headline, storm after storm, triggering a huge political battle of criticism, of support, and he's grabbed a great deal of mind space, once again polarizing millions of Indians all across India and indeed all across the world. He certainly has made the headline. So here this week on Democratic Newsroom, we're going to kick around the topic of Rahul Gandhi. Has he crossed a line? Why is there so much gussa over what this Gandhi said while he was abroad? Is he right in saying that democracy is dying? So much to ask because so much has been said. With me on Democratic Newsroom this week, Rajdeep Sardesai, as always, one of the biggest chroniclers of Indian politics and a close watcher of Rahul Gandhi himself, Aishwarya Paliwal, Gaurav Sawant and Nabila Jamal. All of us have been looking very closely at this story. I'm going to kick things off with, of course, Rajdeep, the obvious question, Rajdeep. What was the biggest thing you think Rahul Gandhi said? And is all this anger and gussa justified?
Look, let's be very clear. There's nothing really that Rahul Gandhi said in the UK that he hasn't said in India. If you look at his speeches on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, democracy khatre mein hai, or democracy is in danger has been his sort of signature tune right through. I have no problem actually whether he says it on foreign soil or in Indian soil. That's his viewpoint. He's entitled to express it. I think the problem is the manner in which it gets expressed. You see, when you want to make statements of the kind you are, you've got to be far more nuanced. You're not at a political rally. You know, you're in Cambridge University, you're in a committee room at the House of Parliament. You expect it to be a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more gravitas. Back your claims if you believe democracy is in danger, back them with far more specific instances. Otherwise, it seemed like an off-the-cuff remark. And that's a dangerous thing. On sensitive issues, when you're abroad, you need to be a little bit more careful of the manner in which you make the remarks. I have no problem with Rahul Gandhi expressing himself, and you could argue that foreign soil in the age of real-time communication, it's going to go all over the world at the same time. But okay, so it's actually the way he said it, which is perhaps he could have nuanced it and made his arguments, I think, in a far better way than he eventually did.
Okay, so Rajdeep says foreign soil or Indian soil doesn't matter. He's saying the same thing. What do you think? I'll come to the foreign hand issue in a little while. What do you guys think about that? Did it matter that he was saying all this stuff on foreign soil? Democracy is dying, etc.
Do we need Europe to tell us what democracy is all about? Do we need America to tell us what democracy is all about?
But that's what Rahul was asking for.
Are they defenders of democracy, and are we okay with it? I mean, we want a Gora to guide us about democracy, or
No,
Gora...
he didn't say that. No, let's be fair. Rahul Gandhi, I've gone through it now.
But he said, where are these defenders of democracy?
Where are defenders?
He says,
are Goras defenders of democracy?
Subsequent to that, 5 minutes later, he says, we will resolve our own problem. These are internal issues.
In a subsequent, speech, he clarified. Subsequent speech.
In that same when asked the question.
He did.
And it's unprecedented.
He did not ask for Western intervention. Let's be fair.
I did not say intervention.
He said something which I thought was more important. He said, just a minute. He said democracy is a common public good. India is the largest democracy in the world. If I believe Indian democracy is under threat, I believe the world should take notice.
Will Joe Biden or Donald Trump ask for Indian intervention to save American democracy?
No, but he did say where are these defenders?
That's right. He said that. Where are these? He's not calling for them to intervene, and they can't. Let's be honest. It's our problem, not their problem.
Are they defenders of democracy, or are we the oldest democracy in the world? Why do we need Goras lecturing us?
No, but I don't
do we want a lecture from a Gora?
So
we want a VDM report to tell us whether we are a democracy or not.
So certainly,
sir, you with your 4 decades plus of experience, you want a VDM report to tell us?
Nabila, of course I don't.
No, what I'm saying is that it's not like BJP has never spoken about the Congress on foreign soil. So this is not unprecedented for sure. Prime Minister Modi, right when he won in 2014, he spoke in Toronto, in the United States, in Oman, hitting out at the Congress so much so, speaking of India being a scam country, that it's been so tainted and awful until I took over. So it's not as if the BJP has not done the same thing earlier. And if BJP really speaks about law and wants to abide by the law, then we've seen how they bulldoze several laws through an ordinance in the parliament. So,
but is it really about criticizing the country? Or is it about calling for intervention? Rajdeep, you're saying there was no call for outside intervention.
There was no call for outside intervention.
It seemed like him saying, you know, what are you guys doing? You guys are doing nothing. You know, where are the defenders of democracy? Sounds to me like a call to action.
No, but no. My point is, let us assume that's his view, right? Let's assume. How does it become anti-India? You know, let's assume that his statements are anti-Modi's government. Let's assume, as I said at the outset, his statements lack nuance. Let's assume that his statements do not reflect the complexity of an issue like democracy. Because, you know, democracy has, I still believe that, you know, democracy in this country allows us to sort of express ourselves, in a manner that very few other countries
democracy
would.
Is not, and he's saying democracy is dead.
No, it cannot be that democracy is dead when I lose an election. It cannot be that democracy is dead when I lose an election. But and democracy is alive when I win. I think democracy is problematic when, for example, some of our institutions don't function the way to do, and let's be honest, they don't. There are several institutions, Parliament for example. But I don't think Parliament is fulfilling its task at all. Look at the legislative work or the failure of Parliament to have serious debates on serious issues of our times. There are very few debates.
But the irony and the joke of it all here.
No. So therefore I believe these are the issues that should be debated in a nuanced, complex manner without making sweeping remarks like saying democracy is dead in India.
And he kind of walked into a trap.
For Parliament to function.
That said, why I think it's so silly of Rahul Gandhi on the contrary is that he has barely any attendance in the Parliament. We just did that story the other day. He has below average attendance in the Parliament. He failed to be present largely. And with what ground and moral ground does he have to speak about India on a foreign soil? You fight, no. Electorally fight, get to the ground.
Now, are we saying that? Are we saying at the moment? Are we saying
ultimately Modi has won through a people's mandate?
When over the last 8 years, 95% of the cases filed against politicians have been from the opposition by the Enforcement Directorate, are we saying that is not an evidence
saying that none of these opposition party netas who've been pulled up by 95% are not corrupt?
95% out of 100. You genuinely believe, Nabila Jamal, that only opposition leaders in this country are corrupt?
I'm not saying only. I agree that the timing and the fact that it's only opposition who are being targeted is an issue. But are these opposition leaders not corrupt?
No. I think there are 2 points. There is the substance. Rahul Gandhi is entitled to his view that democracy is in danger. That's his view. And you have every right to respond to it and equally demolish his argument. My problem is when you start saying that by saying what he is, he becomes anti-national. That I don't.
Well, let's put the anti-national thing is very problematic. Let's put that aside for a moment. Gaurav, you know, there is a sense, many people have this sense, Rajdeep, also to you, that while Rahul raises a lot of perhaps legitimate things in a lot of people's view, he says certain things that kind of delegitimize the other things that are making sense. For example, he says, my voice is being silenced, my microphone is being silenced. He's just had a huge Bharat Jodo Yatra.
43.
Nabila talked about his attendance in Parliament.
But Shiv, he spoke for good 50 minutes. I'm sorry, the speech that he gave in Parliament. He can't say that I'm being silenced.
There are opposition party leaders who at times have legitimate grievances over the way the speaker in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are conducting proceedings. My point is different. What troubled me about Rahul Gandhi is I was trying to go through those speeches is when he turned in an audience in Cambridge, to the Sikh gentleman and said that, you all are second class, Sikhs are second class citizens. Now, when you're going to make something as serious and damning as that, you better back it up. and provide hard, you can't make these off the cuff remarks. So I have my problem with the fact that he doesn't at times respond with gravitas. I have no problem with him making statements, whether foreign soil, Jhumri Talaiya or anyone, and we should be ready to debate it.
You are amongst the senior most journalists in our country, most respected journalists in our country. You think Sikhs are second-rate citizens in India?
I just said.
They are not.
I just said I have a huge problem with it.
Correct. So they are not. So here is the leader who the Congress says could well be their prime ministerial candidate. He goes on foreign soil and then says something that the Khalistanis will use against us, that foreign governments will use against us, those foreign governments that do vote bank politics in their country for the Khalistani vote, and entities like VDM and all these Freedom House and all them, they will say, see, opposition leaders are silenced in India. See, opposition leaders say that Sikhs are second-rate citizens in India. All this is bizarre.
But to say that minorities and Sikhs are second-class citizens, it has far-reaching implications.
Exactly.
Because if you're really targeting the Modi government of being communal, you are instigating the international audience. Already there is a highly polarized environment all over, and India is viewed in this prism at this point that minorities are threatened.
This is another simple question that people are asking is, has Rahul Gandhi, with whatever political situation he's facing right now, has he been irresponsible in some of the things he has said?
As I said, I think a mature, I would go more by the term that Barack Obama once used. There's an element of some of the statements that you make that you're doing it in an unformed manner. You see, when you're a politician, let's be clear, our politicians make all kinds of remarks that are hugely controversial. You remember Mr. Modi's 50 crore girlfriend remark, You remember Mr. Modi outside Taj Mahal while the terror attack was going on, attacking the government. Koi doodh se dhula hua nahi hai when it comes to kind of remark. This is politics. And they make, in Nabila's state, look at the remarks that one of the BJP leaders, Mr. Katil, has been making from time to time. I mean, those are remarks which would have no place in the dog whistles that continuously go out about minorities. My issue is that when you're going to a gathering like at the Parliament in Britain or at Cambridge University, whenever you make remarks, be prepared for the fact that those remarks will be closely dissected. Therefore, go with hard evidence, with research, with a proper complex, nuanced argument full of gravitas. Do not use it to make, you're not in a political rally to make sweeping statements without that nuance. And I think that's where, I won't use the word irresponsible, but it showed to me an element of Rahul Gandhi is still an unformed politician when it comes to making the kind of arguments that you would like to see from a senior leader.
Sir, this is exactly what Nishikant Dubey and Prahlad Joshi have been asking him to say. Everything that he has said in the parliament, they say whatever you said, word by word, give us substance, give us proof. This is exactly what BJP at the moment is also saying. It's very good to make sweeping statements.
It's a battle of perceptions at the end of the day.
It's a battle of perception which ends up maligning the country. How? When you say democracy is dead, is democracy dead? We are having a discussion here in our studio. Anything that the opposition says is discussed and debated in television studios, in print, in digital. How many television channels do we have in our country? How many newspapers do we have? How many digital platforms do we have? Has everyone been bought over? Clearly not.
Institutions. There are institutions in this country which need to be looked at and put under the scanner. But I'll give you an example on China.
To the government every day.
If Rahul Gandhi raises questions on China, since both of you are conscious of defense issues, as all of us should be, when Rahul Gandhi raises issues on China, I think he has every right to question the government's China policy. My problem is when he would say, "Hamare jawan pit rahe hain." You see, then you're allowing the likes of Gaurav Sawant to turn around and say that Rahul Gandhi, you're someone who's, you're demoralizing our soldiers. No, when actually we should have a serious reasoned debate on China in our parliament, which we have singularly failed to have over the last few years. I don't see any reason why this government should not come clean, the Modi government clean on its China policy, and why we shouldn't have a reasoned debate in parliament on it. Why should we not have a debate on Adani? All of these are valid issues.
There should be a white paper. It's just that it's not in our national interest right now, but there should be a white paper on how much territory has been lost In whose times?
Have
And
a
who's
debate.
screaming the loudest?
No harm
I
in
am
it.
sorry.
So why not
while
have a
you may
debate on
score
it?
political brownie points today.
The
No,
US
hold on.
reports clearly suggest that India has far better power and military might to counter Pakistan or anyone else.
You know, while you may score political points today between the Congress and the BJP, China will end up having the last laugh, saying we were always in control of this
But
territory.
Gaurav Sawant,
Why would you want China to have that advantage on the negotiation table?
No,
Just be quiet.
are we saying that foreign policy issues are off the table in Parliament?
At
That we
least
cannot
in an
debate?
open discussion when there is an open conflict.
You don't have to reveal
All right, so
security.
get back
Let's
to
bring
what
it back to
Rahul
Rahul
Gandhi said
Gandhi.
abroad, right?
No.
Point being that he has all the rights to say
हमारे
what he
जवान
has to
पिट रहे
say.
हैं, हमारे जवान नहीं पिट रहे हैं. He is saying this at a time जब हमारे जवान actually पीट रहे हैं. And we've
No,
been on
but
ground and
that's the thing.
spoken to the
Rahul Gandhi
soldiers.
saying what he says becomes anti-India. Anyone from the BJP saying what they have to say is never anti-India. It's more patriotic. So
it's
that's
not
the hypocrisy
anti-India.
that I
Nobody
would call
cares.
out.
Nobody cares.
A charitable way of putting it, even for critics, Rajdeep, would be that even if Rahul Gandhi makes a
It's
lot
4
of
against 1,
a lot of
No,
please.
no.
There's no question
Sir,
about
I'm with you.
I am saying
I'm with
if
you
there
till
is-
the end.
facts.
I'm not defending
We
Mr.
are with
Gandhi.
the
No, there is.
facts. We are with
No,
the
this
facts.
is-
I'm trying to
this is
find
actually-
nuance. I'm trying to find nuance.
This is actually something that I'm asking all of you, which is that Rahul Gandhi might raise a lot of legitimate questions. I agree with you when you say raising questions about China. Similarly, raising questions about other things. It's his job as an opposition leader. He must raise these questions. I am saying in this kind of supercharged political atmosphere that we have, he always seems to provide one nugget for diversion. He will say something that's, that can be easily latched onto, like this pitai ho gayi hamari jawano ki, or something, and then it completely gets diverted.
Let me say something controversial and then ask you, Aishwarya, to respond to it. I believe that we are in IPL season. These team managements and commentators use a word in IPL, matchup. Which bowler is going to be matched up against which batsman. I think the BJP will make sure, whether we like it or not, that Rahul Gandhi makes the news because they want the matchup with Rahul Gandhi.
Of course they do.
Somewhere they want him to be the focus. I wonder, you call him at one level, the IT cell calls him a pappu, right? You caricature him. And yet, you have every senior leader of the BJP day by day, from the law minister to the INB minister, responding to every comment of Rahul Gandhi.
Aishwarya, before you
Why
answer,
is
I
he
have to
so
quote
important?
Rahul. I have to quote Rajdeep. He put out a tweet the other day saying if Rahul Gandhi didn't exist, the BJP would have to invent
I
him.
didn't use the word BJP, but I said someone would have to invent
He would have to be
Sir,
invented.
my question is, there's a Rahul Gandhi. There are many states in our country. He did the Bharat Jodo Yatra. All these things that he said when he went to the UK, did he really need to go to the UK to say the same things which he has been saying in the parliament? He could very well be sitting on Vijay Chowk, with all the mics.
He was invited as someone, as a leader, as a neta of the country, as a young youth icon at whatever age he is.
So this
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No.
The problem with Rahul Gandhi is that he forgets sometimes that at the end of the day, you are the face of India's premier opposition party. Therefore, every comment that you make will be looked at under the micro. You're not a free thinker.
Yeah.
You see, if I was an edit page writer, I could happily write an article comparing RSS and Muslim Brotherhood and probably get away with it. In fact, the article would go viral because people would have contentious arguments and I could respond. But you're a politician. I'll give you an example. He goes to Maharashtra. There, Bharat Jodo Yatra, relatively successful, large number of congressmen gather. The problem is that he then goes there and attacks Savarkar. Now, you could do that if you were a free thinker or if you were in a political party that has taken a very strong, consistent stand on Savarkar, but you are in alignment with the Shiv Sena, which is calling for a Bharat Ratna for the same Savarkar. Now, who gets the blowback? The local congressman. You will move out of Maharashtra. So I think, that is the problem, that you need to recognize that you are a politician. You're
Also,
not a freelancer who can say what you
foot in
want.
the mouth moment, because a lot of the Congress leaders didn't agree with him. Many of them, in fact, said that he's talking garbage. Within their party itself.
But that's damage control. You see, they're constantly having to do damage control.
Is there, last round of, towards the end of this discussion, and again, I'll start with Gaurav, in fact. Is there, and this is something, Rajdeep, that you actually mentioned in your book 2019, which is that there is this politics of negativism has, diminishing returns. With elections coming up, big elections coming up this year and next year, has Rahul Gandhi failed to present a vision? The Congress under Rahul Gandhi is so engrossed with all these attacks on the government, they don't appear to have the time to present a vision, an alternate vision. If not Modi, then what? Here's what we will bring to you.
To present an alternate vision, you need an alternate vision. What is their vision? In all the speeches that you saw, whether it was at the British Parliament or Cambridge or at the Chatham House, did you see any vision? Did you see any one coherent thought that's coming through?
United India, secular India, bringing all together. Hum what mohabbat ki dukaan khol rahe hain.
Pyar ki mohabbat ki dukaan.
But I just want to raise, look, Rahul bashing is a great blood sport. For someone whose party has 52 seats, who's led it to two consecutive defeats, who, a party which is struggling, we seem to spend a lot of time on Rahul Gandhi. When are you going to do a democratic newsroom which is going to do a critique of the Modi government in the same way that we are looking at an opposition leader who, according to the BJP,
we've done many on government policies, sir.
Many, sir.
Many.
No. So whether he is
many
that
on government policies, unfair.
Whether he's that name that he's called or not, I do not know. Let's deal with an individual purely on merits. But sir, when he goes abroad and says, look at what's happening to a media organization, for example. He spoke of a foreign media organization. Is a foreign media organization in our country not supposed to follow the law of this country? It is supposed to follow the law of this country. If it is not following the law of this country, should action or would action be taken place or not be taken place?
20 seconds. 20 seconds last word. 20 seconds last word. I'm out of time. 20 seconds.
No, look, I think, here's where Gaurav also gets it wrong. There are questions have to be raised. If 6 weeks after an organization brings out a documentary which is critical of the government, they are suddenly raided on a matter that has been pending for years, questions will be asked.
Sir, ask questions.
Gaurav Sawant has to...
Gaurav Sawant,
ask questions. With due regard to my friend Gaurav Sawant, we have to recognize asking questions.
Okay, that's a job to ask questions.
Is part of democracy. For God's sake.
And that's exactly what we are doing.
On the democratic newsroom, if you go on to...
When you ask questions, make sure, at least on serious issues where when your country's reputation and your G20 presidency and so much more is at stake, then you are not bringing down your own country.
We've done a democratic newsroom on the BBC issue, so I don't want to go down that path, a whole episode on the BBC issue. So I'm going to leave it there for the moment.
I want to ask you all, have you all done an equally vehement issue on remarks, comments, for example, the fact that the Prime Minister in Parliament said, I will be silent on Adani.
Political gali culture we've done, but I'm out of time right now. And I'm going to be accused of cutting you short when you've asked me that question, but I promise you, not only have we done, but we will continue to do from all sides, because we are not partisan. We truly are a democratic newsroom, and you can see it in our coverage. Thanks to all of you for being with us. See you again next week. Thanks for watching.
Rahul Gandhi to the Democratic.
We will invite him. That invitation is open. That invitation is open. Thank you very much for watching. News continues on the other side.
You are watching India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
बोलो बाटारन स्वामी की।
भैया तारीफ उस खुदा की जिसने ये जहां बनाया है। बंदे को शराफत अली कहते हैं।
बाबा जी मैं थोड़ा छोटा हूँ, थोड़ा काला हूँ, थोड़ा मोटा हूँ, लेकिन मेरी बाकी बॉडी है ना एकदम सलमान खान की तरह है। जानम समझा करो, जानम समझा करो, बाबा जी समझा करो।
प्रॉब्लम है कि 12 साल पहले मैं इनके साथ 7 फेरे ले चुका हूँ।
भाई 12 साल पुरानी